The Mets keep it going. 6 straight wins for the New York Mets. 17-7 overall on the year. They now have a 4-game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. They're rolling. We're going to talk about it all. And we're also going to talk about the New York Yankees' recent struggles today on the New York Double Play podcast. All right, but let's get right into the Mets. The pitching has been it. The pitching has been what's carried them to this 17-7 start so far this season. Of course, Pete Alonso and now Francisco Lindor has joined him on being red hot in this lineup. Pete Alonso hitting well over 300, went 2 for 5 tonight. Francisco Lindor brought his batting average over to 300 at some point this game after getting an infield single that, in my opinion, probably was an error on the pitcher. But you know what? It goes down in the books as an infield single, so we'll take it. We'll take it as Mets fans. Mark Vientos coming up clutch with the runners in scoring position again. Really, in his last 2 weeks, Mark Vientos has been the Mark Vientos we all know and love. He just missed an opposite field home run. Juan Soto, he hasn't even clicked yet, and that's the best part about it because we all know. All the talking heads on New York sports radio, they're going to talk about it tomorrow probably. Oh, Juan Soto's the only guy not hitting in the Mets lineup, blah, 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 blah. Juan Soto's smoking the ball. Just last night, he smoked the ball down the right field line. That was just about 2 inches foul. Today, he smoked the ball down the left field line. Well, I thought it was going to go down the left field line, but Alec Baum made a fabulous play at third base. And if they didn't have the shift on, 1, that's an RBI single. 2, if Alec Baum doesn't make a great play, that's a double down the line. So Soto's been smoking the ball, and you know what? The best part is, like I said before, Mets are 17-7 without Soto even really clicking. And we all know he's going to click soon. So that's the best part. I'm not worried about Soto. Am I disappointed in his numbers? Yeah, but I'm not mad at him. I'm not upset with him because I know Soto is putting good swings on the ball. He's hitting the ball hard. His exit velocity is there. He's not costing us any games. He's still getting on base. I'm not worried about Soto. But I'm not here to talk about Juan Soto. Juan Soto is going to deserve a lot of credit as the season rolls on because that's what Juan Soto is. Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor deserve a ton of credit. I'm going to get into the pitching. The pitching, first off, the Mets pitchers have not allowed a single home run, starting pitching-wise. Starting pitchers haven't allowed a home run in 11 straight games. That's phenomenal, and that is great. Griffin Cannon shoved tonight again. So I'm going to talk Griffin Cannon a little bit too. But I got to give a lot of credit to Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor because since 2021, since Lindor has joined the Mets, one thing that I've noticed, one thing that a lot of fans have noticed is when Lindor and Alonso, when one of them is going, the Mets are going. And when both of them are going, like we saw in 2022, the Mets really go. And right now, to start the year, it was just Alonso. But about a week into the season, we saw Lindor start to heat up. Lindor, over his last 15 games going into today, was hitting .333 with 5 bombs. And that was in his last 15 games going into today. And he went 2 for 4 tonight. So it's probably even higher now, those numbers. I'm going to check them out in a little bit. But just my point here is when Lindor and Alonso are both on, the Mets are going to be on. They're going to be on. And that's regardless if Soto is hitting or not. And the best part is Soto is going to eventually join those two in getting hot. So when one of those two goes into a slump, Soto will probably get hot. So that is the best part about the Mets being 17-7. And when Lindor and Alonso, like in 2022, you look at their record, 101 wins. Why did they have 101 wins? Yes, Edwin Diaz had a magnificent season. Yes, we got a lot of good starts out of guys like Max Scherzer at the top end of the rotation. Tyler McGill had a fantastic start to 2022. Jacob deGrom was Jacob deGrom in the second half of 2022 when he came back. But a lot of it had to do with Pete Alonso hitting over 270, hitting over 40 bombs, driving in 131 runs that year. A lot of it had to do with Francisco Lindor going off that year, hitting over 270, having over an 800 OPS. So when Lindor and Alonso are on, the Mets are on. And we've seen that these past 2 weeks. Lindor has been fantastic. I mean, since really Friday, Francisco Lindor has looked better than what he has last year. And that's scary for opposing teams. Francisco Lindor, in my opinion, over the past, really to start the year, Francisco Lindor has looked better than I've ever seen him before. And that's counting the great second half that he had last year, where he inserted himself in the MVP conversation with guys like Shohei Ohtani and Ketel Marte. So That's one great sign. Lindor is off to an absolutely terrific start. I mean, this is a guy who we all know. Lindor is not the guy that we are all accustomed to having a great start, but Lindor now with the Mets 17-7 start as a 3.01 batting average. He's got a slugging percentage of 5.05 and an on-base percentage of 352. Giving him an OPS, let's add that together. That's what I hate about some of these apps. It doesn't really give you the live updates, but he has an 857 OPS right now after today's game. I mean, just fantastic. Out of the leadoff spot, every inning he leads off this season, which is every inning. Every game he leads off the game. In the first inning, when he leads off, Francisco Lindor is batting over 500. So he has a 50% chance of getting a hit now this season every time he steps up to the plate in the first inning, which is insane. Lindor has just been that good out of the leadoff spot. Really, since he's moved into that leadoff spot last year, he has been a different player, going 3 for 5 tonight with the RBI, scored a run as well, struck out once, but I mean, he even like tapped JT Realmuto. Like Carlos Sanchez got him. On that one. But I mean, Lindor with a fantastic game tonight. Pete Alonso going 2 for 4, ripped an RBI double in a clutch situation where the Mets really needed insurance. Like I had $20 on this game. I had $20 on the Mets winning. And when they were 2-1, right before that inning where they exploded, I believe it was, let me just fact check myself here, in the 7th inning, I cashed out of that bet because I was nervous. I saw Edwin Diaz potentially getting ready to come into this game. And, I love Edwin Diaz, don't get me wrong, but he has been iffy so far to start the year. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. But I cashed out on that bet because I was just nervous of that 2-1 lead. I didn't think it was going to be enough to beat the Phillies. Luckily, it would have been enough to beat the Phillies, but, I mean, Pete Alonso ripping that double down the line to score, Francisco Lindor there. That was huge. It was huge to add that insurance there. Mark Vientos going 1 for 3 today. He's staying hot in his return after a little bit of a groin injury on Sunday. Or Saturday, I should say. Great performance out of Vientos, ripping that opposite field, too, down the line. I mean, that wasn't opposite field. That was right down the third baseline. Vientos there, hitting the ball hard again, driving in a run on his 2-run double. Starlin Marte, I'd definitely like to see more. But Louis Torrens, I mean, he just continues to just surprise us all. His batting average has dropped down to a 228 this year. But with runners in scoring position, Louis Torrens, outside of Pete Alonso, has been our most clutch player. He has been the Mets' most clutch player this year with runners in scoring position. He continued to do it today. He knocked in 2 runs today with an RBI double, a 2-run double. So Torrens, great performance there. And then behind the plate, great defense as well. Luis Angel Acuna going over 3, not too fun. Jose Azocar, I mean, you got to give him credit, just coming up out of nowhere with the Jose Siri injury, going 2 for 4 tonight. He's hitting 429. Only played 2 games, so you don't want to buy into it too much, but it is nice to see Jose Azocar finding success at the plate so far this year. But really, like, great team win overall. I mean, Tyrone Taylor, terrific defense. I mean, in that 8th inning, in the 8th inning, he threw out that runner at first to double him up. Like, he's just doing so many little things to help the Mets win. Just last night, he beats out a ball that should have been a double play and gives Francisco Lindor an opportunity to step up to the plate and hit that home run there. So his second home run of the night, by the way. Lindor has been going he just kills the Phillies. He kills the Phillies, man, and I love it. There's nobody I'd rather see Lindor kill more than the Phillies. Like, yeah, was it nice to see him kill the Yankees over the course of his career? Yeah. But I hate the Phillies with a passion. The Yankees, fans, they're annoying sometimes. Yankee fans can be annoying. And Met fans can be annoying to Yankee fans. But the Yankee fans, who do they hate more than the Met fans? They hate the Red Sox fans. Mets fans, who do we hate more than the Yankee fans? It's the Philly fans. So it is nice to see Lindor be an absolute Philly killer. But the lineup really clicked tonight. I'm going to get into it overall over the past week because I have missed the past week with pods. Griffin Cannon, I mean, let's talk about this pitching staff. This pitching staff was phenomenal tonight. Griffin Cannon, the only one to allow a run tonight. He went 5 innings, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk, lowered his ERA to the year to a 3.12, Huascar Brazoban. I mean, Brazoban has been fantastic this year. I mean, he let up a home run the other night, which sucked, but he still got the job done. 1-2-3 in the next inning that he followed it up with. So, and then after tonight, he lowered his ERA to a 1.26 ERA. 1.26 ERA in that inning. He gave up a hit. He gave up a walk, but he still got a clean inning for the Mets, kept them in the game with a 2-1 lead. And then AJ Minter comes in, and AJ Minter has been my favorite sign-in so far this season. I mean, outside of that one blunder 3 weeks ago now, where he fell off the mound at one point, outside of that one blunder, AJ Minter has been almost perfect. Like, not even amazing. He's been better than amazing. He's been almost perfect. AJ Minter, 1 strikeout, no hits, no walks. His ERA now stands at a 1.74 this year. Ryan Stanek, who has been the most, I would just say AJ Minter's my favorite bullpen addition. Ryan Stanek, bringing him back, that was huge. I mean, he's been dominant to start the year, lowering his ERA to a 0.96. He's got a 1.07 whip. Speaking of whip, AJ Minter also has a 0.87 whip. Brazoban has a 0.84 whip, just to show you how good they have done. Jose Butto, he really needed a good outing today. I like that they gave him a low-pressure spot to let him, because Jose Butto is good. I like Jose Butto. I like Big Butto, and I cannot lie, as some would say. Jose Butto is a good pitcher, and we need him. Quite frankly, we need Jose Butto this season, because if this bullpen is going to be good, it is going to not only count on Edwin Diaz, Ryan Stanek, AJ Minter, Max Kranick, Brazoban. We're going to need Jose Butto, because our multi-inning guys right now is Max Kranick and Jose Butto. Those are our multi-inning guys. And in today's game, you need multi-inning guys, because Griffin Cannon is going to be a 5-inning pitcher probably a lot this year. If he continues to have success, it is probably going to be because he's only going 6 innings at most. I'm not expecting Griffin Cannon to give us 7 or 8 innings. I'm not even expecting him to give us 6 innings. A 5-inning performance from Griffin Cannon where he allows 7 hits, strikes out 5, and only allows run. That's a perfect start for Griffin Cannon in my mind. So we're going to need guys like Jose Butto and Max Kranick to be those multi-inning guys. So I like that Carlos Mendoza gave Butto, that low-pressure situation where the Mets had a 5-1 lead going into the 9th inning to kind of let him get his feet wet a little bit and kind of get back on track. He needed that. I like that. Hopefully we get a low-pressure situation for Edwin Diaz tomorrow night when we go for the sweep against the Phillies. But yeah, I mean, a great team win for the Mets. They continue to roll. That's 6 straight wins, improving their record to 17-7. They are now 4 games up in the National League East over the Philadelphia Phillies. And I mean, let's talk about the NL East division, because the Atlanta Braves, they're gonna win. They're gonna win a lot of games. Philadelphia Phillies, they're gonna win a lot of games. I'm not worried about the Braves' slow start when they lost 6 straight games. Since they lost 6 straight games, the Braves have been the Braves. And that's without Ronald Acuna Jr. And I don't care about his tweet. I'm not even going to talk about that. His tweet the other night about Jared Kelenic, whatever. Braves are going to be the Braves. Phillies are going to be the Phillies. The Mets, I think they're going to be better than we expected. I, going into the year, didn't even have the Mets winning the division. I had the Mets being a wild card team. But now, my POV has changed. I really think this Mets team can be better than just a wild card team. I think they are going to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the division. I don't want to sit here today on April, 22nd, and say the Mets are going to walk away with the division like Sal Licata did in 2022 when he kind of jinxed us. I'm not going to be that guy. But what I will say is the Mets are giving me a lot more to believe in. Because, I've been saying for the past 3 weeks that this pitching staff is going to fall back down to earth. And it hasn't. It hasn't. Tyler McGill looked fantastic last night. I don't care that he has a lot of pitches going into the 5th and 6th inning sometimes. He hasn't even pitched into the 6th inning this year yet. Actually, he did last night. But he hasn't given us 6 innings yet. But we don't need Tyler. Tyler McGill's our 4th starter. Griffin Cannon is our 5th starter. We don't need these guys pitching 6, 7 dominant innings. If they're giving us 4 to 5 great innings, I will take that and run with it. Clay Holmes, he's been fantastic. His strikeout rate has been phenomenal this year. I mean, outside of his ERA would actually be much lower than the 3.16 right now if it wasn't for giving up 3 runs in the 6th inning just the other week. Kodai Senga has been the Kodai Senga we all know and love. David Peterson has been spot on. I mean, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been bad, but he's been exactly what he was last year, and that's a reliable pitcher that's keeping the Mets in a position to win. And that's what this entire starting rotation has done. And that's your job as a starter. For some starters like Kodai Senga, you want them to go out there and give you 6-7 dominant innings because that's what they're expected to do. But for the rest of this rotation, David Peterson, I also kind of hope that he can become what Kodai Senga, what we rely on him for. And I still think he can be. He's shown us flashes of it. But the rest of the three, like Clay Holmes, Griffin Cannon, and Tyler McGill, just keep the Mets in a position to win the game. And that's what they have done. And that's why we are sitting here talking about the Mets being 17-7 with a 4-game lead in the National League East. They have been that good this year. Do I think it's sustainable to be the top rotation, the top pitching rotation in all of baseball? No, I do not. But I do think it's sustainable for them to be a top 5, top 7-ish pitching rotation in all of baseball. I think they have that ability. I think based off last year with what this the new Mets pitching lab has been, when they fixed Ramanaya, they fixed Jose Quintana too, because Jose Quintana wasn't, let's be real, Jose Quintana, even in 2023, when he came back in the second half and pitched really good, he wasn't a dominant pitcher throughout his career. Ramanaya, he wasn't a dominant pitcher. Severino wasn't a dominant pitcher. David Peterson, by no stretch, was a dominant pitcher. And all 4 of those guys had career years last year. Career years. So I do have faith in this pitching staff to continue to surprise us. I really do. And as long as the bats, as long as one of those 3 guys, and Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, or Juan Soto, as long as one of those 3 is hot, and so far it's been either one of those 3 or 2 of those 3, with Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor both red hot right now, the Mets are going to win a lot of ball games. So I think the NL East should, or could, could go to the Mets. I think the Mets could win 95 plus games now. Like I said, I did my preseason prediction podcast, obviously, right before opening day. I had the Mets winning, I think I had them winning 92 games. I'm upping it over 95. I'm upping it over to 95. I really think this Mets team can shock us. I think it can shock baseball. I think this Mets team is very, not underrated, because we knew they were going to be very good heading into the year with all the additions they made and all the guys they brought back. But, man, let me tell you, I think this is sustainable. I don't think they're going to win 117 games like they're on pace to right now, but I do think this is sustainable. I think they can be one of the best teams in MLB. Right now, they have the best record in MLB. They have the best pitching staff in MLB. They have one of the hottest hitters in baseball in Pete Alonso. They have another one of the hottest hitters in baseball in Francisco Lindor right now. Juan Soto hasn't even been Juan Soto. Brandon Nimmo hasn't even been Brandon Nimmo. Mark Vientos, really hasn't even been Mark Vientos, but he's starting to heat up. Acuna has been great. Acuna did make another rookie mistake tonight. A lot of rookie mistakes out of Acuna to start the year. But the elements that he offers the Mets, like his base stealing ability, his ability to play defense at second base, like he is a fantastic ball player. I want to see Acuna grow at the MLB level. I don't want to see him go down to the minor leagues at all this year. I am all in on Luisangel Acuna being a factor for this team now and in the future. Brett Baty, I do want to see a little bit more consistency out of him. He's been great over these past 2 weeks, but I do want to see more consistency out of Brett Baty before I really buy into the hype. I'm still not giving up on Brett Baty, but I'm not going to buy into the hype too much. And another best part, there's a lot of best parts about this Mets 17-7 start. But another one is Jeff McNeil and Francisco Alvarez aren't even in the everyday lineup yet. They're both of them are going to Syracuse now. Well, Jeff McNeil is joining Francisco Alvarez in Syracuse, and he'll probably be back sooner than Francisco Alvarez, because Alvarez, catching takes a little bit more to rehab with than, playing second base. But in McNeil's case, he's not just playing second base. He's playing center field. He's playing left field. He's playing all over the diamond. So that's another best part. It's not just Juan Soto isn't hitting. It's the fact that we don't have the guy who was the second hottest hitter in this lineup when the Mets really turned it around last year in 2024 in Jeff McNeil, who had over a 930 OPS last year after the All-Star break, hit over 270. He had his best power numbers of his career in that stretch. So I really think this lineup can really take another step forward. We're starting to see this lineup really break out almost, right? Like we had going into today, we probably still do. We had the lowest batting average with runners in scoring position. But another good part about that is we're putting a lot of runners on. And even Carlos Mendoza has said it. We just got to keep putting runners on. Put runners on, and eventually things will click. Eventually the ball will fall the Mets' way. And so far, the ball has fallen the Mets' way over these past few weeks. The offense is starting to click. And the best part is the offense is starting to click without Francisco Alvarez, without Jeff McNeil, and without Juan Soto being Juan Soto. So I really think this Mets team can be better than we all expected going into the year. This bullpen has the ability to be one of the best in baseball. It has shown us that all year. Every guy in this bullpen outside of Danny Young has a sub-3 ERA. Everybody in the Mets starting rotation has a sub-3.2 ERA. The rotation and the bullpen both been great. Kept the Mets in a position to win games. Francisco Lindor has had the best start to his Mets career. Pete Alonso has the best start of his entire career. And all signs are pointing forward. All signs are pointing forward. All right. Now let's talk about the Yankees. The Yankees, unlike the Mets, they're not doing too well. They're not doing too well. Just lost 2 straight to the Cleveland Guardians. They're now 14-11 on the year. They have lost 3 straight games now, I believe. Yeah, because 2 straight games they have lost. They're 14-10 on the year, actually. That's my bad. Still got the lead in the AL East. But the Yankees have not been the Yankees of 2024. And I said it before the season started. I don't think Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, even Jazz Chisholm, who was an addition second half last year, Jason Dominguez, I don't think they're going to be enough to lift the loss of Juan Soto. Because Juan Soto, as much as he hasn't been performing well with the Mets, last year with the Yankees, Juan Soto finished top 3 in MVP voting. And Juan Soto will likely finish top 5 in MVP voting in the National League, too, for the Mets. Juan Soto is that guy. But the Yankees did not do enough to kind of build off, in my opinion. They haven't done enough to build off last year, right? They brought in Max Fried, which is great, but they also lost Garrett Cole. They also lost Louis Heel. Like, Devin Williams has been a dud so far in the 9th inning for them. Jazz Chisholm, since he sent out that tweet, wink, wink, to that one guy on Twitter, Jazz Chisholm has done absolutely nothing. Austin Wells has been a disappointment to start the year. Anthony Volpe, after that Brewers series where they lit him up offensively, they haven't really done anything. Like, the Yankees haven't done anything outside of Aaron Judge, who's now hitting .411 on the year, which is insane. Props to him. Best hitter in baseball, no doubt about it. Maybe not the best baseball player, but undoubtedly the best hitter in baseball. I don't know how you could argue against that. I know Shohei Ohtani is an all-world baseball player, but Aaron Judge is a better hitter. Let's be real. But outside of Judge, outside of Paul Goldschmidt, outside of Ben Rice, this lineup has been kind of terrible. It's been terrible. The pitching has been terrible. Clark Schmidt gave a terrible outing last night. He was horrible. Tonight, it wasn't good. Will Warren, actually, I got to give him some credit. His numbers so far this year, 4.79 ERA, doesn't suggest he's been doing great. But you look at his game log. Just look at his game log. Will Warren has actually been pretty good for the Yankees outside of one start against Pittsburgh where he went 4 innings, allowed 4 runs, 6 hits. He hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in a single start this year out of his outside of that Pittsburgh start. So Will Warren has actually been pretty good. It's been Will Warren and Max Fried in the starting rotation. Just Will Warren, you'd like to see a little bit more innings pitched out of him because so far he hasn't gone more than 5 innings. But then again, going into the year, I even said, you're not expecting him to be an ace. You're expecting him to be a number 4 or a 5. So he's doing his job. Carlos Rodon isn't. Carlos Carrasco, you can't really expect much out of Carlos Carrasco. Marcus Stroman on the IL. Clark Schmidt comes back. He's been a dud. The bullpen has been an absolute dud, in my opinion, so far. Mark Leiter let up a run tonight. Tim Hill has been pretty good so far this year. He's been decent. Luke Weaver has been fantastic, but Devin Williams has been absolutely terrible. The pitching has been terrible. Like I said, outside of 3 guys in this lineup, the Yankee fans, I'm not the Yankee fans. I just saw someone comment, Mets fans, not the other guys. Bruce, you threw me off a little bit there, Bruce. Threw me off a little bit there. Mets fan, not the other guys. Listen, the Yankees, they're just struggling this year because they need Cody Bellinger to hit. They need Jazz Chisholm to hit. Like, those are really the two guys. I'm not worried about Austin Wells. I'm not worried about Anthony Volpe. Like, Anthony Volpe can suck and the Yankees can still win. Like, Anthony Volpe has sucked in 2023 and 2024, and the Yankees still won. Right? Austin Wells wasn't there in 2023. As great as the numbers looked last year, his numbers didn't even really look that great last year. Yankees still got to the World Series. Like, the Yankees need Jazz Chisholm. The Yankees need Cody Bellinger. And once that happens, the Yankees will start to win more games. 14-10 by no means is a bad start. But you got to be a little alarmed with this rotation and with Cody Bellinger and Jazz Chisholm, because Cody Bellinger, since 2019, has been declining. Jazz Chisholm has never hit over 265 in a single season. So I'm interested to see what the Yankees can do to kind of get out of this slump. I really am. I think they need to add a guy. And there's two guys I think that they really should add. There's two guys. I want to talk about it, and then we're going to wrap up. One is Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. Everybody was saying it before the year. They needed third baseman. You can't go into a year after missing, like, you just were in the World Series. You cannot go into a year with a massive hole at third base in your lineup after losing one of the best hitters in baseball in Juan Soto. Nolan Arenado last year didn't have a phenomenal year, but he's still Nolan Arenado. He does a lot of things that can win you a baseball game, like his defense. I just saw his defense when the Mets played the Cardinals. He is a phenomenal defender. Phenomenal defender at third base. I mean, the guy has won, I think 8 straight Gold Gloves at third base. He's that good at third base. And this year offensively, I mean, Nolan Arenado has been much better. He's been what he was in the prime of his career. Are the best years behind Nolan Arenado? Yes, but Nolan Arenado would help this Yankees lineup this year. Nolan Arenado right now is hitting .268 with a .375 on base, .427 slug, so an OPS well above 800. He's got 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 12 runs scored in his 22 games. And he's only struck out 6 times. 6 times in 22 games. That's pretty good. The other guy I would think about adding is Mike Trout. Mike Trout, his numbers, like batting average wise, and this is the crazy part about Mike Trout this year. He has an OPS over 800 this year. Mike Trout has an OPS over 800, and he's hitting 184. 184 with an OPS over 800. But he's still Mike Trout. Mike Trout is still showing signs that he can be not the MVP player he once was, but he can still be an all-star or even better than an all-star level player. I mean, the guy has 8 home runs. He's got 16 RBIs. He scored 12 times. Mike Trout is one other guy I would consider adding. It would kind of clog up the outfield because then you'd have Jason Dominguez, Cody Bellinger. You'd have Aaron Judge, obviously. I don't know why I forgot Aaron Judge out of all people. But they do need a third baseman. And in my mind, I would say, hey, let's trade for Mike Trout, make him the full-time DH, at least until Stanton comes back. And then when that problem occurs, who do you want, Stanton or Trout? Then maybe you just have that problem. It's a good problem to have. And I'd move Ben Rice over to third base. That's exactly what I would do. I would get Ben Rice reps at third base. Or you just make it easy and you trade for Nolan Arenado. I think plan A should be trade for Nolan Arenado. But plan B should also be trade for Mike Trout. Another plan the Yankees could have is, because they do need pitching, is a guy like Sandy Alcantara. I mean, Dylan Cease has still been brought up in trade talk so far to even start the season. But they need another pitcher. And I think Sandy Alcantara, I want the Mets to trade for him, but the Yankees could use him. Like, Yankees could really use Alcantara more than the Mets could use him. So, but the problem is, like, let's say they trade for a guy like Nolan Arenado. Will the Yankees have enough in the tank to trade for a Sandy Alcantara? Like, that's the issue the Yankees are running into this year. So they really need to make up their minds They really need to figure out, all right, is it the pitching we need to improve or is it the offense? In my opinion, as it stands today, I would say the offense because they're going to get Louis Heel back. Will Warren has been good. So when you get Louis Heel back, you have Max Fried and you have Will Warren. That's 3 starters right there that you can kind of depend on. You need Carlos Rodon to heat up. The Yankees really need Carlos Rodon desperately to heat up. And I'm not worried about Clark Schmidt. I'm not. He had 2 bad outings in his last 2 outings. I'm not too worried about him. So I would say more Nolan Arenado. But if they don't trade for Nolan Arenado, and let's say they try to trade for a Sandy Alcantara, well, then you got to get Ben Rice reps at third base. You have to. You just have to. But yeah, that's really all I got today. Yankees, they need to get going because 14-10, the fans are starting to panic. I don't know why they're starting to panic. It's only 14-10. That's not a bad record at all. They're still first place in the American League East. They're still a top 3 team record-wise in the American League. But boy, their schedule starts to get tough. It does. That's what I will say. They got the Guardians one more game tomorrow at 1:10 o'clock against the Cleveland Guardians one more time. They got Carlos Rodon, who needs a good start. He'll be going up against Louis Ortiz. Louis Ortiz has not had a good year whatsoever. He's got a 5.48 ERA. He's given up 13 earned runs across 21.1 innings pitched. So the Yankees offense should explode off of him. Then they got the Toronto Blue Jays for a 3-game set after they face the Guardians. That starts on Friday. Then they'll head over to Baltimore for a 3-game set with the Orioles. Then they'll take on the Rays at home, and then this is where it really gets tough. They got the Padres at home. The A's, they should be able to beat up on the A's. The Mariners have been sneaky good this year. They're 12-10 right now. And then after the Mariners, we got Subway Series 3-game set at Yankee Stadium. Yankees versus Mets coming up right around the corner, May 16th. May 16th. Happy birthday, Peter, to that day. May 16th. We will get the Subway Series, so we'll really be able to figure out who's better, who is better. Right now, I mean, it's undoubtedly the Mets, but I'll be there on May 16th with my boy Pete, possibly with Pete. We got to see what he's up to, but I'm definitely going to be there for the Subway Series at Yankee Stadium. I'm going to be doing some content there, going to be interviewing some fans. I'll be going incognito when I interview Yankee fans. I'll be repping the Mets gear when I'm interviewing the Mets fans, but I'm going to be incognito for sure when I rep the Yankee fans. Maybe I'll wear this hat when I, interview those Yankee fans because I can't put on Yankee gear, but I can go incognito and wear something that would potentially fool Yankee fans into thinking I'm a Yankee fan. All right, but that'll be it for me today. Mets, 6-game win streak. Yankees, 2-game losing streak. I mean, polar opposite starts. I mean, the Mets, they're getting a slow start from their A-plus guy in Juan Soto. Yankees, Aaron Judge hitting .411 to start the year. Getting I would say, what's better than an A-plus? Like, is there anything better than an A-plus? Because Aaron Judge is having that much, better of a start than an A-plus, in my opinion. But, yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully our Knicks win tomorrow. If you're a Knicks fan, hopefully we can win tomorrow against the Detroit Pistons. Kind of sucked last night, seeing them get beat up by the Pistons. Anybody who's worried about Jalen Brunson or complaining about Jalen Brunson, they're stupid. But, yeah, we're going to be coming out with a pod tomorrow after the Jalen Brunson show tomorrow because Jalen Brunson is going to put on a show, in my opinion, and they're going to dominate over the Pistons. We're due for the Knicks to dominate against the Pistons. It's been a close game when they won. It's been a close game when they lost. It's time for the Knicks to dominate. So I'm going to come out with a pod tomorrow. We're going to probably just the James Nolan podcast tomorrow, not the New York Double Play. Probably going to be talking Mets and Yankees on that too. And then, of course, with the NFL draft right around the block. It is literally not even right around the corner. It's down the block from here today. We're going to be talking Shedeur Sanders and why I think the Giants are 100% going to be drafting Shedeur Sanders. Why they should. I wouldn't be opposed for them drafting Abdul Carter, but if they do, it's going to be a great addition. So we'll talk Abdul Carter. We'll talk Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk Mets. We'll talk Yankees. They both got 1 o'clock games tomorrow. Yankees trying to avoid it, getting swept. Mets trying to get a sweep over the Phillies. We're going to talk some Knicks. We're going to talk some Jets draft situations as well. Talk Justin Fields, the Aaron Rodgers fiasco, or the Jets kicked him out after 15 minutes. Like, well, big whoop, Aaron Rodgers. I don't care. You got upset when the Packers called you to let them know that they were going to get rid of you. And now the Jets don't call you, and they show some respect at least and tell you to come out there so they can tell you face to face. And you're like, well, Aaron Rodgers is always crying. And I was a big Aaron Rodgers guy, but now I'm not. All right, that's it for me today. I'm out of here. Let's go Mets and Yankees. Hopefully they can avoid the sweep tomorrow. That's it. New York Double Play Podcast. Thank you for watching, whether you're on X, YouTube, listening to the audio version on Spotify, whether you're on Facebook. I love all of you. I'm out of here. Deuces.